What's goody, Shellitronnn here. You can call me Shells, and I'm back at again with a brand new video. And I'm gonna keep it a Bowberry biscuit. Days 3 and 4 of the Carolina Panthers training camp sessions that we get to see through these live streams the team is doing for us have been really good. Just about as good as the first 2 days that we got. We had Monday and Tuesday. Team had an off day on Wednesday. And now on Friday, we have gotten more information, more streams, and we've seen some sleeper picks, some guys who have really impressed kind of unexpectedly. And with there being no preseason this year, we're going to see a lot of that. We're going to see guys working even harder in these training camp sessions because they are looking for a job. But let's not get it confused. It's not just these sleeper UDFA, these kind of guys who were brought in kind of late, who we didn't expect to have great seasons. It's even the guys who are backups, guys who are number 2, number 3 on the depth chart. They understand that there are dudes right behind them who are hungry and they have to work hard in training camp. You do not have the luxury of looking just all right in training camp, but impressing in the preseason. You have to put it all on the line in practice, and in some ways that's an inconvenience, but in other ways for other players that can be convenient because you can just be a really good practice kind of player and you make a spot like that. We'll get into that when we get to when the cuts are going to happen a little bit later on, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks from now, because the season's going to be starting in about a little bit less than a month. It is now the 21st of August. But with no further ado, let's talk about day 3 of the Carolina Panthers training camp session that we got to see. The guest of the day was Muhsin, aka Moose, one of the best wide receivers in Carolina Panthers history, bar none. This man made moves. This man put up numbers. He was great and he was really dependable when it mattered. And I like Moose a lot. For a minute, he was one of my favorite Panthers players of all time. That's before Cam came up. That's before my man Colin Jones came up. Moose has a really special place, and I think a lot of Panthers fans' hearts. But he came up, he was talking about different things. He said that wide receivers on the team need to have a signature. Every guy needs to have one thing that they're great at. He said every guy, the number on your back, the name on your back is an LLC. You need to be identified by what you can do good. If your thing is speed and going deep, make yourself the best speed receiver out there. If your thing is comeback routes, if it's possession receptions, if it's even just being a really, really good run blocker, then do what you do. Make that one thing the thing you're great at, and you will always have a spot in the NFL if that one thing is good enough. He also mentioned the importance of training camp and practice with the 6 Ps. He said proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. I had never heard that before. That is some crazy mumbo jumbo, but it makes sense. Those are words to live by, and I think that's actually a really good mantra to have in this season particularly because, like I mentioned, there is no preseason. You have to practice like you play. It has to be full speed. It needs to be something you're doing every single time you touch the field. You have time to rest in the other hours of the day when you're not working out or doing these drills. You have to prepare because this is going to be an open season. I think this is a season where a lot of teams who would have otherwise not had a shot could maybe have a much better shot than some of these better teams who are, looking like favorites right now. Anything could happen in this season, I feel like, and it all starts right now during training camp. Obviously, with Moose being here, the focus was wide receivers, and he mentioned that he liked what he was seeing out of DJ. He mentioned like what he was seeing out of Curtis. There are a lot of guys on our team right now in the skill position spots who are actually very, very talented. This is a problem we never had with Cam Newton on the team, man. Really does kill me to see that right when Cam leaves, we finally have a strong wide receiver core. We have way more receivers than we know what to do with. We have Farrell Cooper. We have Seth Roberts. We have guys like Brandon Zylstra. We have other dudes on the roster right now where we're going to have to cut probably a really good receiver, or at least a guy who can have an impact on a game in his specialty, in his role. So in some ways, it's a good problem to have, but in other ways, it's like, damn, kind of wish we had this problem 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. It is what it is, though. We saw some other things going on. Shaq Thompson was not on the field. Shaq was working with the trainers. He was injured. Jeremy Chin, who's a safety who can play just about everywhere on the field, was working out with the linebackers on day 3. So we may see a lot of things with Jeremy Chin moving around doing lots of other things, and that's really interesting, but it makes me still question where exactly he's going to be playing primarily. You can't just move a guy around every single play. What will he be doing primarily? Will he be at the linebacker spot playing a box safety? Will we see TJ Green play that safety spot? I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but I do know that Rev Rule and Phil Snow want to have a very versatile defense where multiple guys have multiple responsibilities, and that can be a really good thing to confuse offenses, and you have to have some kind of strength when you don't have experience on the defense. If you can't do it with experience and just having guys who are more aware than the offense, then the best thing you can do is try to confuse the offense, catch them off guard, catch them on their back foot, whatever, and make moves like that. And that's a really good strategy for a guy in his first year, young guys, kind of younger coaches. So we'll see how that works out for us. We also saw in this practice, Corn Elder caught an interception and ran it back during drills. My only question is, who threw that pass? I gotta know who threw the pass. Corn Elder caught an interception in 2020 on this earth. I need to know who threw the pass. Who threw the pass? Who threw the pass? Which one of y'all threw that pass, that Corn Elder pass? Who threw it? I'll wait. Get back at me on that one. But sticking to the defense, the D-line and O-line had one-on-one drills. O-line trying to stop guys. D-line trying to get past them. The D-line won the day on the majority of those one-on-ones. And look, that's a really good thing to see because on one hand, our D-line was not making moves last year. On the other hand, it don't exist. Greg Little trading up to pick him up, him being either injured with a concussion or with knee injuries, and then getting beat on one-on-ones. It's a one-on-one. That's not how it's going to always work in a game, but it does make me question a few things. So, like I'm seeing from the D-line, we're going to have a better D-line than we had last year, but I'm also still worried about how our O-line's looking. But on to the offense. We're going to kind of soft sell it here, make a quick little segue, because it was an undrafted free agent defensive back, Miles Hartsfield, who started taking snaps at running back, and he looked good himself. I think he ran in a touchdown on Tuesday. So we're looking at guys who have multiple responsibilities, not just on one side of the ball, but maybe on two. And it's made even more interesting because on Thursday, he actually suited up in the offensive blue jerseys. So we're looking at a guy who might be, we might be looking at Rev Rule seeing maybe Miles Hartsfield can play at running back as a backup. That calls into question, I think, primarily Jordan Scarlett's position. I think Reggie Bonifant has actually gotten in the game, so I think the team wants to see him do things more, and he can catch the football a little bit better than Jordan Scarlett, although it was pretty widely noted last year during training camp that Jordan Scarlett worked before and after practice on catching balls. He's gotten a lot better since he was in college. So we're looking at maybe a little bit more competition at the backup running back spot. And please, God, if there's one thing I want to change in the Ron Rivera era now with Rev Rule, please find a way to let these young guys get in the game and spell for Christian McCaffrey. I know he just got the big bag. Alright? I know he just picked up the loot. The Brinks truck backed up in his front yard. I understand all that. But please don't have this man on the field for 97% of all offensive snaps. There are other guys you're paying. Don't just pay these backup running backs to show up on Tuesday through Thursday or Friday to lift weights and then cheer for Christian McCaffrey on the sideline. Let them play. That's my only piece of advice for Rev Rule. I'm lying. I got a lot more advice, and I'm going to share my opinion throughout this whole season. You better believe that. But overall, in day 3, we saw some very good things out of both sides of the ball. Jordan Kunishek forced a fumble and fell on the ball late in practice. That is very, very encouraging because Jordan Kunishek may be called on to be a coverage linebacker in more snaps than we may expect this season. So that's really good to see for day 3. Day 4, we saw a lot of really good things with Kristen and Wesley Walls. One of the more interesting things that happened in this stream happened actually before practice. The mics were hot. The stream went live a little bit too early because the team was running a little bit late. And we got to hear Kristen Balboni and Wesley Walls talk kind of candidly together before the stream was on. Kristen even says, hey, we're not even live yet, so we can talk about whatever. They turned what I assumed was a technical mistake into a pretty interesting segment where they just talked about whatever. That was kind of cool. But on to practice. Obviously, if you have Wesley Walls on the stream, you're going to speak on tight ends. He said he's looking forward to seeing a lot more out of Ian Thomas in year 3. And if you remember, there's a guy who made videos on YouTube over a year ago talking about how Ian Thomas needs to be used more, talking about how Ian Thomas can't have a breakout year, talking about how much he believes in Ian Thomas. Even last year, the team ignored him. But moving into this year, that guy still believes that Ian Thomas can be an impact player for the Panthers. That guy believed it so much, he said we did not need to pick up a tight end in the draft. Even when people were telling that guy that there was someone out of LSU whose dad is pretty famous that the team should pick up in the 3rd or 4th round of the draft. I don't know who that guy is. He's probably really smart, probably really good looking. I ain't gonna lie to you. But I do believe in Ian Thomas. We have other guys who are going to be looking really good at the tight end spot. So I'm looking forward to see how we work that into the scheme. If we will actually use tight ends in our scheme, because last year it was not a focus of the passing offense. I need to see some change there. We also got to see Omar Bayless was out. He's missed now 3 practices with knee problems, knee swelling. That's a big problem because Omar Bayless was probably the star. The one guy who I think was the most surprising and most impressive of the guys who we may not have exactly assumed would make the roster, the final 53 man. So we'll look at him, and moving forward, hopefully he gets healthy and can impress some more at practice, because I actually do believe in Omar Bayless a lot. But y'all already know the number 1 saying in football, it's next man up. And since Omar Bayless cannot be a wide receiver, we got some other no-name dude who plays a different position to go and do some drills with the wide receivers. Do y'all know a kid by the name of, I think he went to Stanford, Christian McCaffrey? Yeah, that dude, he's a little guy, you know, but he was working out with the receivers as well. He said, look, coach, put me in at this position. I'll do a little something here too. I heard he got 1,000 yards receiving last year. That's pretty decent. We may see this man play in the slot a little bit more if we actually use our other weapons we have at running back. That is a very interesting thing to see. We also saw that the other tight ends are working on long snapping. We also have J.J. Jensen, but as long as other guys can learn how to do different things, be more versatile, you know, a little bit more responsibility for these guys could never hurt. So that's an interesting thing. I don't really care that much about long snapping. I'm not going to lie to you. It's one of those things that you don't really care about until there's a bad snap. So I'm taking it for granted until we actually have problems there. It is what it is. The offense was outside. It was kind of raining today. It was overcast, and that's actually good. I like the offense being outside and the defense being inside in the bubble, because the offense needs to learn how to catch them when it's rainy. You know, keep your footing and blocking when the ground's kind of wet, the ground's kind of slippery. I believe that the offense needs to play in the elements more than the defense. The defense does not need to catch the ball. That's cool if they do. I want them to, but I'd rather see my receivers and running backs hold on to the ball and catch balls in the rain than my defense getting interceptions in the rain. It is what it is. I just want to see us maintain possession and score points more than I want to see our DBs get interceptions. Honestly, you ask me, I just want to see our DBs be in position to make plays on balls, just to knock them down, just be in the area, please. Do you know who we're playing against this year? Let's not ask for too much. I just want us to bat the ball down and go to the next play, make sure we're doing good. I need to see some very strong possession out of our offense. Make that work. Let's sell some tickets looking really good. That's how I feel about it. So the offense being outside in the rain is 100% cool with me. We also saw that Tamarick Hemingway was finally back. He had a concussion. He wasn't working out for the past couple days, I believe. He was out there. He's a big tight end, so he may have a small role on the team as well. He did not make the team. Pretty sure he spent most of last year on the practice squad. He may have been activated for a game or two. Don't know if he got any actual snaps on the field, but Tamarick Hemingway is a big dude. That man eat his chunky noodle soup. I ain't gonna lie to you, that's a big man. So we might see something out of him. We saw tight end blocking on the first level and second level. That's good to see. You want to see tight ends blocking linebackers because it means there's even more room for our running backs to break outside and get even more yards. You love to see that. And that was basically what we saw for the most part. A lot of blocking in day 4, a lot of tight end focus, a lot of just picking Wesley Wall's brain for what he thinks about practice, tight end philosophy, and what he thinks the team can do this year. And it's always interesting to hear these big stars from years past come in, talk to Kristen, and, give their insight about things that happened when they played and relate it to what's going on now. They recognize it's a little bit different, but their insight is always still interesting. Like always, I will have both day 3 and day 4 streams in the description below. You can watch both of those. They're both around 50 minutes, so you can sit down and watch both of those in a little short session, like you're watching some Netflix or whatever. They are very, very good to see. Recommend them highly. That's all I got for you for today, though. What are your thoughts on day 3 and day 4 of the Panthers training camp? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. And you already know to do with that like button.
Cheers to you, appreciate the chance. Been told y'all I been the man. Been told y'all I had the gift. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Real ones gonna recommend. Count this as another win.